cannot tell you how fabulous it is to have people coming back on Sunday who have not been able to attend in person or have not been on Zoom even for the last 2 years. So good to see you again in person. Folks online, I am so glad that branch of our community is continuing. It's just terrific. If you are here online, you're welcome to keep your video on throughout the service. If you're comfortable being seen, that's lovely. We'll mostly keep our audio off, but I encourage you to all unmute for a few moments to say hello. Those gathered here on the UUCPA campus will do the same, and we can hear each other. Hello. Good morning. Good morning. You're getting waved at. Folks who need to know where the camera is, there's one behind you, and there's one on either side there. There you go. Great. Online attendees, you can see the order of service by following the link in the chat. If you are here on the UUCPA campus, you can scan the QR code at the welcome table as you come in any morning for an electronic order of service, or pick up a paper copy there as you wish. I want everybody to know about the annual meeting. I won't go into all the details, but it is today at 1 o'clock. There's different ways to attend depending on whether you are a voting member or just observing. I'll just tell you, it's really exciting and eventful. Really cool stuff is happening at this annual meeting, very appropriate to a big anniversary year. We're kicking off some great stuff, and you want to be a part of it. So, hope you can be there. And we have an event coming up on Wednesday, May 4th that I and the membership committee thought could best be explained to you with a skit. Are you two going to do the skit, or should I? Oh, I'm a part of it too. Great. I get to be clueless. Oh, I have the microphone. Yeah. Okay. So I present to you Marisha Scott and Vani Raja of the Membership and Growth Committee.
You and I are going to be.
Okay.
So, this was a great sermon. Oh,
Thank you.
yeah. This was a great sermon. I really appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, do you know her?
I don't think so. I'm sorry. I think maybe I introduced myself once.
I've never met her before. Should we go say hi? Or I don't know how to do that, though.
I guess we should. I mean, she's looking at the bulletin boards. That's what I do when I don't know what to do and I don't know anybody.
Yeah, but I'm kind of an introvert. I don't like saying hi to new people.
And I'm kind of afraid, like, what if I introduce myself already and I'm like, hi, have we met? And she says, yeah, last week. That would be really embarrassing.
That would be. Oh my gosh. Maybe we should maybe she'll come back next week, do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe we can, I'll be prepared next week. And you can look up and, you know.
Yeah, and let's go out this way so maybe she doesn't even notice that we noticed her. Okay. Okay. Thank you to our victim, Bonnie. Don't let this be you. Are you afraid? Has this been you, that you know you should greet somebody and you're just not sure how, and you don't know how you'll answer their questions and so on? Well, you need some wisdom from the welcome table. And we have wisdom from our very own John Wright, who is not only a master of how to greet people, yes, hands of praise, not only a master of how to greet people and make them feel welcome himself, but he's really good at teaching others how to overcome whatever is getting in their way. You don't have to become a greeter at the welcome table or any of that. Just if you want to know how to deal with awkward situations and show the friendliness of this community, May 4th, Wednesday, the information is there on the website, and lots more coming in your order of service next week, when we will also have an illustration embarrassing newcomer activities for you. Thank you. And we have an announcement from the wonderful executive director of our, where'd you go, Marcia? There she is, of our wonderful justice partner. Will you come on up here so that folks online and here can see you?
I'm grateful. So our mental health agency, and I'm also going to try to project a little bit, so one way or another, I'm hopeful you hear me.
Gotcha.
Our mental health agency serves all of the schools in Mountain View, Los Altos, and the surrounding communities, K through 12, for all mental health services, as well as a clinic in Mountain View on El Camino, open to clients from Pacifica to Gilroy. Right? We don't hold back anyone, and we provide all services on a sliding fee scale. But what's important and what I love to mention is that we help all cultures recognize in the community the signs and symptoms of mental illness. And we understand the barriers to seeking mental health services that are unique to that culture, which is the important part. We offer our services obviously with compassion, respect for one another, and appreciation for individual differences. We have clients that will sit on our wait list for months because they say, we come to you because when we walk through the door, we feel respected. And this is so important. I was particularly noting, I love everything that I've heard in the previous service here about inclusion and diversity and equity, and that is what we train and is the foundation for our organization. I was particularly thrilled to see the event that you have on April 26th coming up. And I want to share with you just one client that we have of the thousands that we serve every year. Manuel is a 60-year-old cisgender African-American male, and he came to us because he was inspired by his biracial, bisexual teenage daughter. We know how teenagers can be. She was very comfortable with herself, and she had no trouble calling people out for their microaggressions towards her. But he came to us because he said, I want to be able to do the same for me. And he said he felt stupid all his life because of his dyslexia, and he's never been able to speak out to racist comments. He even ended friendships because of this, his inability to speak out. And he came to us to help increase his self-esteem, reduce his depression, and have his own back, right? Now, we didn't have an African-American male therapist, which I wish we did, but this is the essence of CHAC. We train our 100 clinicians to provide culturally competent treatment from an intersectional and social justice framework, because we know that that's how you build trust with people, and trust is the essence of a relationship and connection, and then that's where the work begins with a therapist, to be heard and to be seen and to be valued. So I'm really pleased to say he is making great progress, and he's working with a female white therapist. And that, I think, is a testimony to our training. In that training, we understand that cultural competence is a personal journey, and it encompasses a lifelong process which we encourage. We aspire for institutional accountability at CHAC as well, and in society at large, which is why it's a delight to be here. Now, the pandemic has had unbearable impact, economic impact on our clients, mental health issues as well, but economic has been tremendous. Although we operate on a sliding fee scale, Manuel could not afford our minimum charge, and many others like him, for a weekly therapy session, which is a fraction of what a therapist on the outside market charges. So your donation will help me to spare him and others what often feels like shame and embarrassment of having to ask for a reduced fee. And that further exacerbates any feeling of low self-esteem to boot. So your donation allows Manuel to stand proudly at our reception desk when he comes in for his session with dignity. And that's how you can help us tremendously with a fund to support those that cannot afford even our lowest fees. So I thank you so much. I appreciate your time, and I hope you all are well.
Thank you so much, Marcia. We're really glad to be partners. We'll be able to support CHAC with our offering today. And if you want to know more about the organization, Marcia will be out there just outside the front of the main hall at the table after the service, when we also have coffee. So help yourself to some hot drinks and chat and catch up with what's going on with that organization. And now, let us begin our service. It is so wonderful to have you back live music here once again. Thank you, Margaret and Christoph. Our chalice lighting today comes from my colleague Karen G. Johnson. She describes it as a child's chalice lighting, but you'll hear it's for people of all ages. If you have a chalice there at home, please light it along with us here. What if when I light the chalice, you hear an invitation to welcome gratitude for the earth? Here's my list, my very partial list. The house finches that are nesting right out here, and that I can recognize their song when I come onto the UUCPA campus because we have 2 families of them nesting in the front of our house, and I've gotten to know what they do and what they look like and how they sound. Bryce Canyon National Park, and it's gorgeous orange rocks that I got to visit a couple of weeks ago. The ocean, that we are so lucky to live nearby, the great ocean that covers so much of our earth. And now, with this flame of hope shedding light in your heart, what is your list? Go ahead and call them out if you wish, so people around you can hear. You'll have more chance to share these with each other later in the service. With our centering words each week, we draw on the many sources of our living tradition. Today's words are from the US-American novelist, poet, and essayist Ursula K. Le Guin. She's speaking of a specific problem, as she saw it facing us, but it translates very well for this Earth Day service when we're talking about how can we take care of this beautiful planet that we love so much. We live in capitalism. Its power seems inescapable. So did the divine right of kings. Any human power can be resisted and changed by human beings. As we follow the sound of the bell into silence, let us become centered and feel ourselves being fully present here together. Let's join in singing Blue Boat Home. The words are in your order of service. If you like the music and you have the teal hymnal here before you, it's number 1064. Please rise in body or spirit, and we'll sing together. If you have a joy or a sorrow to share and you did not, you're here and you did not get to put it on one of these cards at our table, you can share it the way folks online do, which is by sending an email to joyconcern@uucpa.org. I'm pretty sure I've actually got reception for it today. And those of you online on Zoom can also share it in the Zoom chat. Let's take a moment of silent prayer or meditation for all we've heard. The great joys, the losses and fears and sadnesses. With gratitude that we share this life together and can hold one another in all of these occasions, both joyous and difficult. Blessed be. We have a responsive reading that Bill Hilton put together, both the words and the beautiful appropriate pictures to go with them. The words are up here on your screen, I hope, and also in your order of service, so you can see that you're part to respond to Bill. Let us join in. Bill.
I want to say that some of the photos are from Jack-A-Wiki, for which I am very grateful.
Bill, before you begin, you can take your mask off, and
oh yes,
standing up where I was the camera can get you better.
I can do that.
I know you're modest, but claim your God.
Well, you know, I'm not showing up on the screen anyhow, so it doesn't require so much modesty. So now we'll begin this responsive reading. At UUCPA, we are a green sanctuary. At UUCPA, we have installed solar on the main hall roof that offsets most of our electricity usage. At UUCPA, we lease airspace above the parking lot for production of solar energy. At UUCPA, we participate in the city's recycling and compost programs. We support and engage in our community work through and community. At UUCPA, we have created a native plant garden, which displays each season's natural beauty and which requires limited watering. At UUCPA, we use washable dishes, cups, mugs, and utensils. We do this because wash water flows into the day and continues as part of the Earth's cycle. At UUCPA, we have pledged to stop use of single-use plastics. We will do this to avoid creating plastic trash so as to restore natural habitats, give fish and other living creatures safe waters, and cut the production of oil and gas. At UUCPA, we have installed energy-efficient lighting in all buildings. We do this to stand strength and to limit our demand for electricity. At UUCPA, we have installed a heat pump system to heat and cool the main office. We do this to reduce our carbon footprint and to move toward our 2030 goal of carbon-free operation. At UUCPA, we support new laws that encourage clean and renewable energy. We do this to At UUCPA, we support the needs of our low-income neighbors. At UUCPA, we engage with people and organizations in efforts to combat climate change.
Whatever we do to the earth, we do to ourselves, and conversely, whatever we do for the earth, we do for ourselves. I want to speak to you of hope today. And I'll tell you why. Other than, it's hopeful. I went researching hope because of my sense that that's what we need here at Earth Day to continue the work that we know is so important to take care of this beautiful planet. And I was delighted to discover that somebody who has done very interesting research on this has the last name, I don't know how he pronounces it, but it is spelled O-J-A-L-A. Maybe it's Ojala, Ojalá, but in Spanish, it would have an accent on the last A. Ojalá. Ojalá means a lot of things, but it carries always a sense of, so may it be. When I say ojalá and then something, it's like, I'm hoping this will happen, or I'm going to help make this happen, this thing that I'm about to say. And you can just respond to somebody, Ojalá. So what a wonderful name for a hope researcher to have. Ojalá. Dr. Ojalá has come to his research with the deep assumption that hope is essential for us to take action in any daunting situation. That it's essential whether it's very personal, like trying to overcome drug addiction, or global, like trying to resolve the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, and, of course, for the climate emergency in which we find ourselves. So but he wanted to know, how does that actually work? What actually helps people feel hope? What he has come to call constructive hope, and I'll say a little bit more about why. What helps us to take action? He's done a lot of this research specifically with teachers who want to teach teenagers, say, about climate change, but what they find is that their students come to them full of despair. Some of the people in the room absolutely need the facts, and some of them know the facts, and they look and they wonder if they have the future that they ought to have. So he got into studying hope, and he discovered, well, there's a couple routes to hope. People in deep denial about a crisis, I don't have a drug problem, there is no climate emergency, they have a kind of hope. They will report feeling quite hopeful. But that hope, not surprisingly, does not translate into action. It doesn't go very deep. He's looking for this constructive hope, the kind of hope that helps us to do what needs to be done, that we can see something is difficult ahead of us. That's why we need hope. That's what hope is for. But we can conceivably see a path through, and hope helps us to see that path. Okay, well, you don't do that, he discovered, if you're in denial. So the teachers are right to be telling their students about what's going on. But how do we make that translate into action? Well, here's a couple of things that Dr. Ojalá and other hope researchers have found. One, we need to have our fears, our sorrows, our anger, our negative feelings about the crisis acknowledged. Otherwise, it just feels like another kind of denial, right? You could be denying that you have a problem, or you could have other people saying, oh, don't worry about it, you'll be fine. And that doesn't help you have hope. You need to have people take your trouble seriously. That was important to know. That was important for these teachers to know, because they're talking to a mixed group, right? Some of them really need this information, and some of them really just need to be given hope for the information they've already got. Here in this congregation, I know that everybody knows what the problem is with the climate. There's plenty of information we could all share with each other, absolutely, about particular situations and particular things that might address it. But there's nobody here, I've never met anybody at UUCPA who needs the hammering of the facts. We don't need to overcome climate denial. But we might need to overcome that second kind of denial, of denying the hurt of each other's feelings. So, okay, so number one, we need that. We need the facts. We need to have people acknowledge our feelings, not have them poo-pooed, or on the other hand, catastrophized when we share our hard feelings. And third, we need models for action. And then wonderful things happen. Then it's like vroom. And I was looking for a non-fossil fuel-oriented idea. So I want to imagine a solar engine. You know, we are a solar engine. And when we have the facts, which we've already got, when we have the acknowledgement of the hard feelings, nobody's denying them, nobody's catastrophizing them, like you say you're depressed and they say, tell me about it, and tell you 6 more things to be depressed about. Not helpful. And it really, really helps to have models of how other people have used constructive hope. They have found enough hope to take action that we can join and also that we can take more hope from. So that's what Bill has done for us in creating this reminder of just a part of what we have done as a congregation about climate change and related problems that face our planet. Just a part, because we could also have included the fact that this whole campus is like a demonstration campus for various ways to help the local environment. Not only do we have native plants, but we have bird boxes. We have low watering potted plants to show how people all around the world can keep plants healthy in a very small space with very little water. We have a rain barrel, and then a lot of this is built or maintained by the kids in our Sunday school, and they have an eco-justice program specifically connecting their love of the earth and their Unitarian Universalist principles with things we can do to create justice for this species and all the other species affected by the environmental crisis. They do that in our Sunday school. Some of them are doing it right now, and we have an eco-justice camp each June that reaches out to the wider community. Parents are looking for, where am I going to send my kid to camp? Well, they don't have school, I still have work, and they see UUCPA has an eco-justice camp, and kids learn all this great stuff. So many things. Oh, and something else is our work. This may not seem at first like it's related to climate change, but it absolutely is, right? Our work on campaign finance reform and on getting big money out of politics, at least as a start, illuminating who pays for the advertisements for candidates and issues. Because if we keep coming up against that wall of, oh, the corporations and the individuals and the governments with big money can stop whatever we want to do, one of the things they're going to want to do is stop our work for the earth. So that effort also is helping the earth. So all of this makes great fuel, just like sunlight, right? All of what we are doing is powering our work for the environment. Something else I think we need to do is practice how to meet one another with hope. If we are going to be a hope engine, we might need to practice, because it's really hard to remember the teachings, remember what the research has taught us, that despair and apathy do not help, that being hammered with the facts when you already know them does not help activate your hope. But action does, and acknowledging your feelings, both your grief, your depression, your worry, all the other feelings that may be very hard that come to you when you think about our climate and what you wish we could do, what you want to do. But then also your hope that those things are heard and acknowledged and treated with respect. And this is what Dr. Ohala has found, that Ohala, when we share these things with each other in an environment that gives us opportunities to put our shoulder to the wheel, we'll do it. We will do it. So I want to practice right now. We're each going to turn to somebody close by, and I'm going to do this in two parts, so I'm just going to explain to you, and you have just a little bit of time, that I know this is a hard thing if you're hard of hearing, the room is loud. I'm sorry, feel free to go to the lobby and do the best you can. Because I want to do a little tiny workshop here. You are going to share with the person something hard about climate change, something, when I shared before the blessings of the earth, maybe something that you're really scared you're going to lose, or just something in the news, something that's got you down. Share that feeling. And the person listening, your job is just to listen and affirm. Don't try to cheer them up, don't try to minimize it, and don't catastrophize it either. Just meet them where they are, and then you're going to switch so they can do that for you. Just a couple minutes, and then I'll tell you the next thing we're going to do. Thank you all. Thank you all. Now, sometimes, and maybe it just happened to you. Sorry if I've run into your time. Take it to coffee hour, because this conversation will continue. Oh, that's something else we do. We get fair trade shade-grown coffee. It's better for the birds. Yay! Small things, that we do as an institution and as individuals. So, if sometimes when you ask somebody and what's giving you hope, they might come up blank, and that too. Just be with them. We all have our ebbs and flows. I want to recall your attention to the Ursula Le Guin quote. Right? The divine right of kings used to seem unbudgeable. Lots of things used to seem just completely immune to our action, and yet they have changed. That gives me hope. And I have two things from this book that I want to close with that give me hope. This is Climate Church, Climate World, How People of Faith Must Work for Change by Jim Antal, who's a United Church of Christ minister. Oh, I've gone and lost my place. He shares a story about when hope became tangible for him, in his words. He'd participated in an act of civil disobedience on behalf of the climate, and he said, hope became tangible for me during the 2 hours I spent jammed in the police transportation vehicle, hands cuffed behind me, shoulders aching, and wrists in pain. 2 hours is a long time. Hope emerged, as it so often does, from conversation, he says. Sitting on my right was Julian Bond, former chairman of the NAACP and the first president of the Southern Poverty Law Center, whose first act of civil disobedience was in 1960 at a lunch counter in Georgia. Hope grew as I began to take in Julian's resolute courage, and as I realized that less than 50 years had passed between Julian's first arrest and Obama's first election. Much had changed in that time. That's the first thing I want to share from this book. The second is not by Reverend Antal, but is by the people who gave me the book. There's an inscription here from 2018, offered to me for my inspiration on sermons and anywhere else, and so it has been all this week and at other times. Love from UUCPA's Green Sanctuary Committee, and there's about 10 names here. I know there are other names added that would be added since. And this is how we give each other hope, is we share with one another how to help and how to be a part of something bigger, how to know that we are part of organizations, families, networks of friends, neighborhoods, and bit by bit, a nation that will turn things around if we offer each other our encouragement, our listening, and our own hope. So may it be. Ojalá. Now let us give and receive the offering, buoyed by the knowledge that even if we do not have the time, the know-how to work on mental health issues in our community, we see that they need our support, and CHAC is working on them. And we can do something to help right here by giving to our offering. So the instructions on how to give are there on the Zoom chat or in your order of service. Please give as generously as you can to our justice partner. Thank you so much. There was a poster at a Earth Day rally or climate change rally that really got the psychology of hope. The tide is rising, right? State the problem. Got to face facts before you can do anything. And so are we. We're going to do something about it. And Shoshana Friedman made a song about it. Our fabulous Veronica learned it without chords or a fake book or anything, just listening to it on YouTube. She's amazing. So we are going to sing. Please rise in body or spirit. The words are here in your order of service. And folks in the congregation, you really need to sing out, because the folks at home, they can only hear themselves, okay? So they can't have the Zoom sound on. They're only hearing themselves and us. So sing out so they know they're a part of a big body of people singing, and that's where we'll get our power. The tide is rising. I will extinguish our chalice with this prayer for a drop in the bucket. Blessed are the droplets, for they shall fill the bucket to overflowing. Blessed are they who know there is a bucket, for they shall be filled with hope. Blessed are they who can see beyond their lifetimes, for they shall walk in faith that their work will not be in vain. Blessed are we when we know we only appear so small, because what we are creating is so big. Blessed are we who are part of one another. And blessed are we when we give new life and light to others, for we will live more richly ourselves. Blessed be.
May the road rise to meet you.
Thank you. Such a joy to have your music here in person. Everyone, please do stay after the benediction for our conversation time. It's 50 minutes until our annual meeting, which is on Zoom. So I know you need to get to various devices and places, but we have some time to be together. Those online, there's something special this week. You're invited to small group conversations in our breakout rooms as always. But if you stay here in the main room to discuss the service, Bill Hilton will be there to chat with you about it. And of course, about all the green work that we do at UUCPA. So if you're online, please unmute yourself and make sure your video's on, and you can touch hands up to the screen or put a hand over your heart. And here in the main hall, you can reach out to hold hands if the two of you are comfortable with that, or again, just reach out to the folks around you as we say our benediction. Go out into the world in